welcome in today, Vikings fans, for a brief discussion on the quarterback situation currently facing the Minnesota Vikings as we cruise quietly through free agency. And we need to address the quarterback situation here in Minnesota. This is always a fun topic. It never causes any animosity or vitriol or anything like that. We always enjoy and respect each other's opinions when it comes to the subject. And I'm going to make it easy for us. We're not going to talk about Kirk Cousins today. That's going to be for many videos down the road in the future and all that stuff. There's plenty of time to talk about Kirk Cousins, the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, but that is what he is. He is the starting quarterback, so we don't have to worry about that for this year and potentially next year. What we do currently have to worry about is his backup. We don't have a solidified quarterback 2 on this roster yet, in my opinion. So as it currently stands, Sean Mannion is still a free agent. He has not yet re-signed with the Vikings. He has not yet signed with another team as of this recording. Hopefully that is correct. I did not check before I hit record, but I'm pretty confident I would have heard otherwise. So currently on the roster under contract, other than Kirk Cousins, is Jake Browning, the practice squad extraordinaire, and Nate Stanley, who was a 7th-round rookie out of Iowa last season. That is a very concerning situation if the Vikings have any inkling at all to go into the preseason or OTAs or, God forbid, the regular season with just those 2 guys as the potential battle for the backup job behind Kirk Cousins. So what else can we do? Well, I think that it's probably going to happen eventually. I just don't know how long it's going to take for the Vikings to re-sign Sean Mannion. I think that they really do want him back. So I would say until he either signs with another team or there is a strong, credible source / signal that he will be moving on without a commitment from another team away from the Minnesota Vikings, I think we should just be aware that that's likely going to be the end result of this. But what more fun would it be to speculate about his potential replacement? So who could be the new backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings in 2021? And if you've seen the title and the thumbnail, you already know where we're going with this. I don't know why I'm dragging it out, but it gives me an opportunity to talk about the trade. So if you haven't seen, which you probably have, earlier this week, the Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets agreed to a trade where the Panthers sent a bunch of draft capital. I'm not going to go over that because it's irrelevant for this topic, in exchange for Sam Darnold, a former first-round pick, number 3 overall by the New York Jets several years ago. So Sam Darnold is traded to the Carolina Panthers. Honestly, I didn't see this coming. I think that what this tells us is that with the first 3 picks being solidified is definitely going to be quarterbacks, with the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Trevor Lawrence. It sounds like Zach Wilson is all in for the Jets. And then we can debate whether or not it's going to be, Justin Fields or Trey Lance at number 3 overall. Then that leaves the Atlanta Falcons, who are either going to take a quarterback or they're going to trade out of it. Adam Schefter has reported that they are looking and, talking about potential trade scenarios to trade out of the 4th overall pick. And there is no way in hell that they were ever going to trade with the Carolina Panthers because they are in the same division. So this looks like the writing was on the wall for the Panthers, knowing all well that the quarterback that they wanted, or at least one of the quarterbacks that they wanted, was not going to be available to them, even if they were able to secure a trade up to 5. So this tells me that they probably don't think the world of Mac Jones. I think the whole Mac Jones to number 3 to the 49ers is a smokescreen, but that's another discussion for another day. And likely the Falcons told them to fuck off when it came to proposing any trades between the 2 teams. So the Carolina Panthers are left with not much hope for the NFL draft to land their future franchise quarterback. It could still happen. One of them could fall. That's totally a possibility. But they decided it was better now to secure their starter for the year rather than later, because if they didn't step up and trade for Sam Darnold, somebody else was going to. So Sam Darnold comes to the Carolina Panthers where Teddy Bridgewater already is. And Teddy Bridgewater didn't have the most incredible season with the Panthers last year. He was probably borderline average, I guess I would call it. I don't really have much ground to stand on in critiquing his season because I didn't watch a lot of Carolina Panthers games other than the one where we struggled to beat them last season. So Teddy Bridgewater has been given permission by the Carolina Panthers to explore the opportunity for a trade because while they would like to retain him, albeit on a much cheaper contract, they do want to let him have the choice of how his future will unfold for this next season. So that brings us to the point of the video. That brings us to the topic at hand. You, as Vikings fans, please let me know in the comments section, would you entertain the idea of bringing Teddy Bridgewater back to the Minnesota Vikings to be the backup quarterback to Kirk Cousins? Let me give you my opinion. So right now, the Carolina Panthers are telling him, hey, explore a trade. Find a trade partner. Let's see what you come up with. Trading for Teddy Bridgewater, in my opinion, is out. I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up draft capital for a backup quarterback to bring in a situation where, you know, the message is that we're bringing in this guy who used to be our starter. We gave up draft capital for him. That means we must think something highly of him. And I think that creates a scenario where Kirk Cousins is going to be irritated. So trading for him, in my opinion, is not something that I want to do. Now, you could absolutely argue that signing him via free agency after the Panthers cut him is going to have the same result on Kirk Cousins and his demeanor. He's going to be not too thrilled with that, with a hometown hero. I don't know how much of a hometown hero Teddy really is. I guess you all have to let me know on that. But in my opinion, you know, I think everybody's been rooting for him since that horrific knee injury on the practice field. So I don't think anybody would really be upset with him coming back to Minnesota. But maybe some of you are, and which is why I posed the question to you. How would you feel about him returning as a backup in the backup role? So in my opinion, trading for him, giving up draft capital and assets this year or next year, whichever it is, I don't care if it's a 6th or 7th round pick, I'm against that, because ultimately what they're going to do is cut him, and I would rather do that, bring him in on a very low salary to be the backup quarterback and give us more of a real lifeline in case something were ever to happen to Kirk Cousins. Because one thing about Kirk Cousins that you can't really deny is that he's durable. He hasn't missed any games due to injury. But this would make me feel more comfortable if something were to happen, because Teddy Bridgewater is, I think at this point in his career, definitely a spot starter. He did very well in the 5 games where he took over for Drew Brees while he was still in New Orleans. I believe they won all 5 of those games. A full season as a starter for the Carolina Panthers that was in transition with a new head coach, new regime, new everything. Didn't go so well, but they had their growing pains as a team as a whole. And they were also playing in a very brutal division with the Saints and the Buccaneers. So I can't really fault him too much for that. So let me know what you guys think. That's where I stand. I would be willing to bring him in as a free agent acquisition, not in a trade, but as a free agent acquisition, because that would make me feel better about the rest of the season should something significantly bad happen to Kirk Cousins in terms of on-field injury. Because right now on the roster, I don't feel confident in the backup quarterbacks that we currently have. And I wouldn't really feel any sort of confidence even if we've brought back Sean Mannion. So that is my take. Let me know what yours is. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.